In this video, I'm going to show you how to choose the perfect name for your beauty business and what you do and don't need to think about when choosing a name in 2024. Specifically, I'm going to tell you the 3 things you need to consider when coming up with a list of names for your beauty business and why you should come up with a list of names rather than just thinking of one and running with it. And then I'm going to share with you a tool that I've created to take that handful of names, run them through a few little tests to make sure you're picking the right one and help you choose the perfect name for your beauty business. Way back in 2015, I made a video called How to Choose the Perfect Beauty Salon Name. Now, it's still the #1 resource in our industry on YouTube for this topic with over 127,000 views. However, that was 9 years ago. Still a great video, but I think it's time for a refresh. The name you choose for your beauty business is really, really important. It's the first thing that your clients are going to hear and see about you. You're going to be linked to this name for a long time, hopefully, and it's going to be the thing you see every single day when you walk into your business, when you go on your social media, when you go on your website, when you communicate with people, when you reply to emails, and when you tell people about what you do. So you want to get it right. However, you don't want to let the search for the perfect beauty business name be the thing that stops you moving forward with your business in the first place. But you'll be okay. If you follow the process that I'm about to take you through in this video, you will, first of all, get a bunch of ideas that work really well for your business, and from there be able to whittle that down to the one perfect name that you should go with. First of all, there are 3 key things that you need to think about when coming up with a list of ideas for your beauty business name. So let's start with #1, ideas and where you can find them. Now, you may already have an idea, a name or something that's been stuck in your head, rumbling around, possibly the source of the idea that you want to start a beauty business in the first place. Or maybe you already have a beauty business and for one reason or another, you either want to change your business name or you're being forced to change your business name. Now, for either reason, it's a really good idea to come up with a bunch of options for you to evaluate. So where can you get ideas from? Well, first of all, you've got a branding agency, but branding agencies cost thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm guessing you don't have that. So let's move on quickly. The next one is what you've been calling it in your head. Like I said, chances are you've probably got some sort of name that's rattling around there. That needs to be the first one that goes on your shortlist. Next, brainstorm ideas with your team if you can. Now, if you don't have other therapists or estheticians that work with you, likelihood is you've got a bit of a team already. Maybe you've got someone who's helping you with your website. Maybe you've got your partner. Maybe you've got an accountant, someone helping you with social media, someone that you've kind of been bouncing ideas off, a mentor or something like that. It's a really good idea to get everyone's ideas on a topic because, again, if you've been thinking of something and it's stuck in your head, you being able to come up with ideas outside of the box is going to be really, really difficult. Next, you can think about your location. Location is a great thing to have as part of your name because it tells people where you are. However, it may affect your choices in the future should you choose to move. Obviously, you've got your own name. You could use that. Loads of successful beauty businesses have the founder's name in them. I think it can be a really, really good idea. However, if your goal is to have a bigger team, if your goal is to exit at some point, this can affect things. Everybody loves a good pun as part of a business name. I think they're great. They can be really funny and it can help make you memorable. However, I think it's difficult to have a pun as a name that people take very seriously. If you think about it, it's great for kind of name recognition, causing people to smile, but I don't think it creates a serious business if that's what you're trying to do. And finally, if you're really struggling for ideas, there are a load of name generators online that you can go to. Shopify have a really, really good one. A couple others, just Google them, but basically you can go in there. Don't use the names that they give you because obviously the names that they give you are going to be ones that they give to everyone else. But you can use these to kind of spark ideas for yourself so that you can get a list together of, say, at least 5 to 7 names, ideally somewhere about 12 that you can run with. Now, the second big thing that you want to think about is what I call do's and don'ts. You want your name to be unique, you want it to be memorable, you want it to be referable, but you want that to be for the right reasons. Now, the first reason is unconventional spellings. There's a real kind of trend of having a word or a name, but spelt in an unusual way. Now, this can work really well because it gives you brand recognition. However, it can go horribly wrong as well. I'm reminded of a business that I used to walk past all the time on the way to work. And its name was on the building, and it was MO-T-V8. And I'd walk past this all the time. And because it was a building that wasn't obvious as to what it was, I had no idea what it was. I thought it was some sort of garage because there's like MOT in there, which is in the UK like the test that you have on your car to make sure it's roadworthy. But after a while I realized it was motivate and it was a gym, but it didn't immediately communicate that to me, which meant it was very hard for me to understand what it was and tell people about it. The other thing about do's and don'ts is weird words. Now, weird words can be, again, helpful for brand recognition, but if you pick a word that's really difficult to spell, and I have some experience with this as well, but if you pick a word that's really difficult to spell, again, it can be hard for people to type that into Google to find you. It can be hard for them to send you an email. It can be hard for them to find you on social. My overall business name, my registered business name, is Virtuosity Solutions Limited. Now, when I came up with that name 20 years ago, I thought it was a really cool sounding name. I thought it could give me lots of options. However, when I first started telling people my email address was Virtuosity Solutions, no one can spell the word virtuosity. So I'd end up having to spell it out multiple times, and it was a real pain. Hence why I now go by Beauty Business Secrets. Finally, trademarks. You absolutely do not want to infringe on anyone else's business name or trademarks or anything like that. You may think, if you're just starting a local small business, that no one's going to know, but that's not true. It's easier to find small businesses all over the world, everywhere now. And bigger businesses have teams of people who go out there and search for businesses who are even accidentally infringing on trademark rights. You do not want to get into that. You do not want to build a business under a name and then 6 months or a year down the line have to change it because you're being sent scary letters from solicitors. Easiest way to do this is when you come up with a name, just Google it quickly and see if anyone else is using that name or that variation of your name. And it doesn't just count in your industry as well. It's a big, complicated topic, and if you want to find out more about it, I've got a podcast episode all about trademarks with a legal team that we discuss everything to do with trademarks. I'll put a link to it in the description so you can go and check that out if you want to. The third thing you want to think about is getting early feedback, but you want to get the right feedback. Feedback's really important because you can come up with a name, it can rattle around in your head, and it can sound like the perfect thing, but you're going to be focused on that one name. You want other people to look at that name in the kind of cold light of day and give you their genuine feedback. There's a famous case of a website that was launched called therapistfinder.com. Really great name. It was to find a therapist for you to work with. Makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure as the idea was kind of thrown around in conference rooms, in business meetings, things like that, it was fine. However, the very first time, apparently, that they saw the name written down, it was spaced out slightly different. And it can kind of be taken the wrong way. So you don't want to find yourself in that situation. Next thing about feedback is you want to consider your target audience. Now, you don't want to be asking your friends and family about the name of your business if your friends and family are not the target market for your business. So if you're starting up a business aimed at 20-year-olds and your friends and family are mid-30s, 40s, then it's not going to be the right audience. So they're not going to be able to give you the right feedback. What you need to do is go and find a bunch of your target audience and see what they think of your name. One other thing about asking your friends and family is obviously they like you. They're not going to want to offend you. So when you run your ideas past them, they're going to give you slightly biased feedback. And if not that, they're going to give you vague feedback. They may not like something, but they won't tell you. They'll just be something like, yeah, that sounds cool. I like that. That's fine. Which is, let's face it, not very helpful. Now, a great little tip on getting the right kind of feedback from your target audience is using social media. If you don't have a bunch of people already that are your target audience, you can simply hop on social media, find a group somewhere that is your target market, put a post in there, see what they think of the name, and get some really easy, quick feedback from your target audience that way. Now, in the 20 years I've been doing this, those are the 3 most important areas you need to think about when coming up with a short list of names for your business. And like I said, you absolutely should come up with a list of names so that you can compare them against each other and find the best one for you. I also want you to remember that your name isn't set in stone. So don't let the lack of the quote-unquote perfect name stop you from moving forwards. Everything is changeable. However, we do want to make sure that we've made the best decision at this stage. So once you've got a list of name ideas, what do you do with it then? How do you genuinely evaluate those names to make sure you pick the perfect one for you? Now, like I said, I've created a tool to help you do this. I've put a link to it in the description of this video. You can grab a copy of it right away. It's called the Beauty Business Name Evaluator. And whilst everything you need is in that download, the checklist, the sheet, the instructions, everything, I just want to run you through the key areas of it so that you understand exactly what to do. Okay, so there are 9 quick evaluation criteria that you need to run each of your list of names through. And like I said, really quick process. You can do this in like 20 minutes. So first of all is appearance and practicality. How does your name look? How is it going to look on signage, on stationery, on documents, both blown up really large and also really small? Now, looks are important, especially in this industry. So you want to use visual clues, things like alliterations, symmetry of letters, numbers. You want to think about the number of words in your name as well. Chances are you're going to be writing this name down a lot, communicating this name to people. The longer it is, the more unwieldy it is, and it's probably going to get really annoying really, really quickly. So shorter is better. Second criteria is sound and association. Now, you want to be seen, as we've just said, but you also want to be heard. So you're not always going to be the one who's saying your name. So make sure that it's easily communicatable by your friends, by your clients, by other people too. Think about how it's going to sound when it's said on radio stations, on podcasts, at award ceremonies, at trade shows, things like that. Make sure it's an easy name for people to talk about, communicate, and share with each other. Number 3, distinctiveness. Now, how different is your name from any other organization's name or company? Again, there's trademarks that come into this, so make sure you're not infringing on any trademarks. But equally, don't make your company sound too similar to anything else either, because that can still land you in hot water. And again, you want to be easily distinguishable from any other business. You also want your name to, in some way, be linked to what you do, so the two aren't completely disconnected. It's easier for people to understand what a business is if what they do is somewhere in their name. Number 4, it's positioning. How relevant is your name to what you do? We've already mentioned this a little bit. It's not essential, but if you're brand new, making it clear in your name what you do is only going to help people understand your business. And it's less important these days, but have a think about where you're going to appear in lists. For example, if your name begins with A, you're going to naturally appear at the top of any list that's alphabetical, rather than if your name begins with Z. Less important when it comes to Google, because everything's about the algorithm these days, but there are still some publications that will list in alphabetical order. So whilst not the end of the world, have a think about that as well. And number 5, it's depth. Now, this is where we get a little bit more touchy-feely, but you want to think about, does your name have multiple layers? Does it have multiple meanings? Can it speak to different people in different ways? Number 6, feel. Again, sticking with the touchy-feely side of things. What does the name evoke? Does it have an energy, a welcoming warmth, a positive glow? Does the feeling that the name have match with the vibe or the atmosphere that you want for your business? Number 7, we've just mentioned energy. Carrying that on a little bit, how vital is the name? You know, does it have a buzz about it? Does it have some sort of excitement that can help you when you kind of launch and you have new promotions and events and things like that? Is it a name that people are going to be excited about when they hear? Side note, curiosity and intrigue are things that naturally play on our minds as human beings. So if you can use kind of an unusual word in there, don't make it too hard to spell, that can also help as well. And number 8, it's what I call the X factor. Nope, don't worry, no singing involved. This is just where you have something in your name that really pops, that stands out. Does the name have something that little bit special about it? If it does, that's going to get it extra points. Think about whether you can see people kind of gossiping about this business name over, you know, a coffee at work or a drink in a bar or something like that. Hey, have you heard about the new salon called... Finally, at number 9, it's social media and domain name availability. This is a really practical one. If you come up with a name and you can't get the domain for it, or you can't get the social media handles for it, that's going to make life hard. Because if you come up with a brand and you have to try and communicate to people that your social media names are totally different, that's just going to make it harder for people to put the two together. So, as a purely practical step, whatever name you're considering, quickly Google it, go onto the main different social media platforms, see if you can get the name, ideally the same name across all of the social media platforms. That's going to be a big tick for you moving forward. Those are the 9 evaluation criteria that you need to put your name through. Everything that you need is in the download, and you can go through that really quickly, so it no longer drives you mad. It'll take you less time than it takes to drink a cup of coffee, which is great, because then you can move forward with your business plans. Speaking of business plans, I've made another video all about how to create a super simple business plan for your beauty business. And if you want to check that out, you can check it out by clicking the link just up here. Now, I hope you found that helpful. If you did, consider giving me a thumbs up, a little like down below. And if you are just starting out, I'm going to be doing a series of these getting started videos. So consider clicking the subscribe button so that you don't miss out. Now, once you've picked your business name, you might want to know more about how to start a successful beauty business the right way. Fortunately, I've made a video for you, and you can check it out on this page here.